Probably. Sweet. And we're live. Hey everybody. Can you hear me okay? Is my sound clear? Sweet. All right, we're just waiting for Socrates. How's everyone doing? Hi. Andy, hello pretty woman, I hope you're... Thanks, Andy. I am self-isolating, as we all should be. Hey, Amy. Doing well, thank you. Great from Florida, just homebound. Hey, at least you're in Florida. It's warm outside there, right? Can't wait for socks. Me and him have an inside joke that he's my dad. Where is the popcorn? Thanks, guys. Spency Frenchie, how's self-isolation going for you? It's going. I'm an extrovert, so it's kind of driving me crazy, but keeping busy. Great from NYC, but it's crazy outside. Yeah, I know New York is pretty crazy. Hey, Ray. Hi from Australia. Hi, Australia. Thanks for joining. I know it was a little time difference today. Come to Nashville when this ordeal is over. I would love to. I love Nashville. Making not being in Chicago easier. Yeah, unfortunately we were all supposed to be in Chicago today. Let me see. Whenever Socrates joins in here, then I can add him. Hello, Michigan, Windsor, Ontario. So excited for socks. Me too. Keeping it corona-free in Canada. Yes, I hope so. Dear girl Charlie, thanks for doing this. Of course, I love to do this. We should all be together right now. Chickpea, I know. It's been especially hard for me this week knowing that we were all supposed to be together today. Hello, London. How's isolation? Boring. But these lives are, there you go, you're in here. These lives are at least giving us something to look forward to, myself included. I'm so sad we would be in Chicago. I know, but we will be in Chicago. So hopefully this all clears up. Everybody stays safe, and by August we can be together again. Hi, Anita from Richmond, Virginia. I miss sports. Football is my sport, so hopefully we still have that later on this year. Hey, Kimby, Barbara. All right, let me get on here. Let's see if we can add our guest in here. For those of you just joining, if you don't know who I am, my name is Kiana. I am the creator and organizer of Wentworth Con. So I produce the events and I run the social media pages. So we are coordinating this online for now while we're all isolating until we could be together again. Let me see if I could bring our guest in here today. Ton of questions too. There he is.
I'm just sending you on my little electronic saying, yeah, I'm here.
I was checking periodically. I'm like, I'm just going to keep chatting and talking to people until you join.
I've never done one of these, so I'm a newbie. This is my virginal.
I love it.
Insta live. Hello.
Hey, Charlie says, hey, Dad.
Dad?
I guess she calls you Dad.
Oh, Charlie. Okay, yeah, my daughter. Somehow, yeah, she and her other half are my daughters. This is going back years when we went over to the UK to meet people. Hi, Charlie. Hey, am I looking up here? This is on my iPad, by the way, so I've just set it up.
Oh, cool.
Makeshift book frame behind me.
Yeah, that's how I have my phone set up this time because I obviously have to read the questions and stuff, so I need to be close enough where I can. So if I'm going like this, it's because I'm reading questions.
That's me. Look, hence this. Look, although
there you go.
Still can't really see because I'll be doing this. So I'm gonna look at you, Key.
How are you doing over there? Hanging in there with isolation?
Well, firstly, it's bright and early. This is bright and early. Very bright and early for me. And because we've got daylight saving today.
Mm-hmm.
Which I kind of just realised because I know that your countdown was different to mine, and I kind of went, what's going on? And then it was like, ding, daylight saving. I'm like, oh, that's why. So, an hour earlier, we've gone way back. How am I going? I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay here. It's very bizarre what's going on, and especially when I step outside and I just see everyone kind of dodging each other and sort of staying away in masks and almost hazmat gear, you know, doing their shopping and stuff. But indoors, it's quite normal for me. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on my own. But yeah, so this doesn't feel too strange for me. I'm kind of coping okay. How about you?
We're okay. Yeah, we're hanging in there. It's obviously spreading a little more here than it is there. My entire state shut down pretty much. We have a stay-at-home order. All businesses closed unless it's life-sustaining. So I also notice when we go out I try not to go out often, so I've been staying home. But when we do go to like the grocery store or something like that, people are dodging and staying away from each other, and it's weird because I'm the person who always says hi to everybody and talks to people, and I can't do that now. So I'm like, okay, this is lonely, but yeah.
It is bizarre, you know. Yeah. But our like essential services, whatever that means, are only open here as well, and things are shutting down, and you know, there's fines in place now and threat of imprisonment.
Mm-hmm.
Can be doing.
Yeah. It's unfortunate they have to do that, but people aren't listening and they're not really taking this seriously. So, you know, obviously they're going to start fining people and cracking down on it.
Yeah.
But I see you wore teal, so you came prepared.
I did. I found wonderful. I've been wearing it for a while. It's starting to get a little bit chilly here in Oz as the winter season's approaching. But this is something some beautiful ladies from the Kindness Factory made for me years ago, and I still wear it. It's very comfortable. There's on the back, I don't know if you can read it, but it says "We're on top" with a little earth sign, and she's got here in the imprint. There's "Maximize your kindness."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, a little bit of kindness every one little step. So
I love that.
It's very cozy, and I was going to bring it over to the States. and be very, potentially
Yeah.
gift it to someone. But it's with me at the moment.
Well, bring it in August then. Let me see. So I don't know if you saw, but on the story I put ask a question, and we received like over 100 questions.
Wow. Okay.
But I'll go through here and I'll just pick some that are good questions about the show, about the character and stuff like that.
Okay.
And yeah, let me see. I always like to start it off with this one. Let me see. I think the question will come up on the screen for a little bit too. So this is from
Oh, wow.
Holly.
I
So
can read.
Holly said, yeah, was Maxine the cast member you auditioned for? What was your
Yeah.
favorite scene?
Yes, she was. I was living in the States at the time when the audition came through my agent, and uh, it's kind of bizarre because I thought, well, this is really weird. I mean, it's very rare to get an audition where you're playing a trans woman, especially on something like a prison show where 99% of the cast is all women. So I instantly was a little bit confused, but then quickly I became very, very intrigued and very, very challenged by it, and I was really, really keen to create something that fitted the brief, because the brief came along and actually fit my body shape as well. It said it's a 40-year-old recently transitioned male to female, so she still looks
Yeah.
ambiguously male, she transitioned late, so she still had the bone structure, and the voice didn't necessarily need to change. She didn't have elocution lessons, blah blah blah. She might have, but the voice wasn't. She didn't take her hormones until much later in life, so they didn't affect her voice as much. So it was kind of a nice slip for me to kind of go, I don't need to do too much physically. So I had two wonderful, beautiful girls, actors that live in America. One of them you may know, she's in The Handmaid's Tale. She let me, Yvonne, her name is Yvonne, let me a black wig. So she dressed me up, and then a beautiful girl called Tabret, she did my makeup for me, and so they helped me. They helped me look like my version of Maxine.
So you auditioned here while you were in the States?
No, yeah, via a sales tape. So I sent it through, which was great because I think the casting people kind of knew me as Socks, so they didn't sort of expect to see me as Maxine. So
Yeah.
Informed. But
You
yeah,
just dove right in.
she's the one I auditioned for, yeah. Which, like I said, very rare to get a brief like that, And I was mid-30s at the time, so I thought, wow, I can't not attempt to do this,
Yeah, for sure. And we got this question. This is actually kind of a good follow-up because this got asked a lot here. This is from Julie. How did you learn to master the role of playing a trans woman so brilliantly?
Well, that's very kind. I don't think I mastered it. I just think I tapped into something that I think managed to get me the role, which was not think of the character as specifically male or female. I think the soul doesn't have a gender, And Jean's brief said that she was an extremely sensitive and compassionate human being, and that's something that I could tap into. So I think I looked at what was going on for her at the time, and she was, she had attacked her lover because he tried to stab her. Sorry, she stabbed him, but he tried to beat her. In fact, I think he did because he was unhappy with her. And so I just tapped into her fear, her love for him. But yeah, I didn't think necessarily I need to play a woman. I was just playing a broken soul, a broken heart,
Yeah.
And I
For
think
sure.
that's what kept me going for the whole season. I just saw her in that way. I never thought of, obviously I went and did a lot of work on what it would be like as a 40-year-old man to transition to a woman. So, there was a lot of I had a lot of vocal lessons actually. I went to a speech therapist for that. But I did a lot of reading on the science behind what would happen to a body and specifically physically, but internally and emotionally, I think I really, really could identify with her, regardless of thinking of her as a woman or as a
Yeah.
man, thought of her as a soul. And I think
Yeah,
that's
no, that's awesome. That makes sense too. I think if you see the chat, people are saying you mastered it, by the way.
oh, I can't see the chat unless which I'll probably have to do
They're
this stuff.
saying,
That's really
yeah,
cool, guys.
nobody else could have played Maxine.
Oh, that's very
Yeah.
kind. That's very kind. Oh, yeah, I mean, it was a real beyond a gift to receive that brief, and the writers did such a beautiful job. I mean, it was there on paper. They just needed the right person with the right sort of heart and compassion and understanding and sensitivity to come in and put their stamp on it. But I like when I read that brief, I kind of went, oh, this is just. It's just stunning because a lot of the briefs you get as a bloke don't necessarily touch into vulnerability and sensitivity like that brief did. So I kind of went, yes, I know this like the back of my hand. So
I love it.
And then like the writing team was just they acknowledged that and they kept that really alive throughout the season. So yeah. It was just written up there, someone.
Let me see. Oh, that one's a fun question. Let's ask, what was your favorite scene to shoot and why? That's from Millie.
From who?
Millie?
Millie!
Yeah.
I'm thinking Millie could
Troll.
Yeah, Troll.
Yeah, Troll. Yep.
Millie. Hi, Millie. Hello. My favorite scene. Oh, you know what it would have to be? Yeah, it would have to be because you can drink. It's like it surpasses my wildest dreams. Like I couldn't even dream to dream this if I was being in this show because I grew up on the original. Right, I grew up on Prisoner. I don't know if you've watched it. I know some people I have met in conventions in the UK are aware of it, but I grew up.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, so a lot of fans and myself we've started to watch it for sure.
Right, it's a guilty pleasure. It still runs on television here, guilty pleasure. But anyway, I grew up on it, and I remember the actors' names and I remember the actors, but I specifically remember that steam press. That's just legendary. It's imprinted in our brains, whether we like to think of it or not. And I remember all the top dogs behind the steam press and just the sound it would make. It's so terrifying and appealing at the same time. So yeah, it was but I never in dreams thought that Maxine would end up behind the steam press as top.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the odds, right? That's just.
You saw that video I put on there and the poll?
No, tell me.
I put the video on my story like the other day when I was sharing all the scenes of Maxine. And I put, did she make and then we got this question right here. This came in too. Do you think Maxine did the right thing with the steam pass?
Aha, of course she did. She was such a rebel. She was such a soulful rebel and she changed the rules. Rules. I remember reading that episode. That was one of my favorite episodes for obvious reasons. And I thought, she's sacrificing herself for the better of her community. This needs to change the way people deal with each other. So she put a lot on the line, and I was so inspired by that decision. And so, oh my God, it was full of emotion and full of strength and full of inspiration as Sox to kind of sit there and think, wow, this is what she is now standing up for on her own. So Favorite scene, Kiana, was behind the steam press, actually being top dog. So again, I say it, I think this is kind of warped. I mean, it's warped, right? You've just
Yeah.
so kudos again to the writers for being so brave in terms of writing this. But yeah, she absolutely did the right thing. She absolutely did the right thing. I mean, it changed. You know, again, she's a compassionate angel, and I think that again just made people within the jail and all the viewers kind of go, yeah, there's something bigger than
The current rules.
current rules of conservative
Yeah.
law, knowing what we do, and violence. You know.
Yeah. I think
Do,
I went
do,
to,
do you think she did the right thing?
do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she did because she started her own rule there. And I think it was a very Maxine thing to do, too. You know, I don't think she was a violent person at heart. I mean, yeah, she was, B's right hand, but yeah. I think if you're put in a situation, you're going to react however you're supposed to react
Oh
at
yeah.
that moment.
That's another thing. I never saw her as a violent person. A lot of people kept saying, "Wow, I like she's B's right hand lady," and
Yeah.
she's her muscle. I always put that in the back of my head because I didn't sit in the space where Maxine was violent. She had to do what she had to do in order to survive, and that was her. Um, a lot of the time she had, internal conflicts with that. It's like, I don't want to do that, but I know I need to compromise or shift my morals and my behaviors in order to survive in this environment, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I think that dominoes, sorry, that worked with, that was most characters' conflict, to know how to deal with who they are and how they handle their lives in general, and how now they need to compromise and sacrifice what they have done in order to become someone new in the jail. That sort of psychological confrontation of character is so delicious to work through as an actor. But I think also, Kiana, I think this is probably why the show reverberated with so many across the world, because it identified what we do as human beings, and we are in this current climate. How do I
Yeah.
shift myself in order to survive based on all
Yeah.
these obstacles?
Yeah, for sure. I think, and I talked about that a little bit with Kate last week, where, she said that people are looking up to these ladies who are in prison, and I told her I think it's more of the backstories and the emotional connection that you have to the character itself. Less of the fact that they're in prison for whatever reason, and more of their struggles and their reactions and everything that we're talking about here.
That
Yeah.
precisely. And, these women, these inmates look, feel, think, are the audience, and that's why I think it's made such a huge impression all over the world. These women that we see on TV, they don't look, they're broken down. In fact, Maxine had the most. Maxine had probably the most care from the makeup department than all the other ladies. But they look like us. They're all shapes and sizes and all cultures and all identities. And I think that the audiences have been kind of wanting that. The minorities especially have been wanting that. They wanted to see themselves replicated on screen. And this, despite it being a prison, I think people went, wow, I know her. I feel like her. That's me. I still get messages daily from all walks of life, whether they're 17 or 16-year-old kids to 60, 70-year-old people saying, I identify with what Maxine, and all the other inmates possess, which is amazing that it still has. I mean, it's still going on the season, but the character isn't, so it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Let me see. Let me take a live question here. What about this one? Daryl from NYC. Hardest scene emotionally for you?
What did he ask? What's he asking?
Hardest scene emotionally for you? I know you just said the steam press was emotional.
It was, yeah, it was, but I mean, that whole episode was emotional. That whole episode was emotional. Also because people, she didn't know whether people would rebel or, or acquiesce to what she said. So when they all came and gave her their desserts, at lunch, whatever it was, I remember breaking down, and I remember looking at gorgeous Celia, and just that act when it's happening in the flesh. It's on paper, on the script, it's beautiful. But then when you just see all these extraordinary women who represented all our sub players just line up and hand you their dessert and look at you, in your eye, in their eye, you direct eye contact, you can see they're emotionally journeying with you. It was pretty emotional, Kiana, and also, again, just on an acting point of view, I'm the only man in that situation, and to have all these women kind of go, "We accept you, Maxine. Here is our act of gratitude." I remember looking at Celia, and Celia too had tears in her eyes, and we just went, "This is just stunning and beautiful," and yeah. But the probably the two hardest. I'm going to say two things. One where emotional scenes. One where really hard. Oh my God, it's amazing that I go back there. So I remember Frankie said, okay, in order to, and I think it was to do with her hormones, the particular hormones, right? The freak confiscated Maxine's hormones.
Yep.
And Frankie said, I'll get them in, but you need to, on one condition, on one very violent, horrible.
You need to beat up your best friend.
Yeah, and I remember that, and that was extremely hard on all levels, obviously, because Maxine was not a violent person, and that's what was happening to her on the outside. But also, there's beautiful Danielle on the bed below, giving permission, saying, "Come on, Maxine, you need to do this." So B sacrificing herself in order for Maxine's,
Yeah, that was an amazing scene, but also really hard to watch.
Yeah, socks as well. It's like, I'm how the fuck am I going to do this? But I think it's going somewhere. It's going somewhere for, that's the power of the show. It's incredible, but also I think, sorry, I'm just going to, just what it brings up in us, in human beings, because we're not all perfect and we need to do things we don't like about ourselves. But just the fact that there was a connection in the bond there, between a transition between B and Maxine, I think it just deepened that friendship like no other. But the other one was when Maxine kind of said, okay, I'm going to have surgery. And so I remember saying, the writers in that episode, or the director, wouldn't it be awesome to actually have a scene where Maxine says goodbye to her breasts, because it wasn't in the script. And I said, well, do you reckon, I mean, it's such a groundbreaking show. Do you think there's room for Maxine to kind of have a private moment and look at herself, and because that's the image she always wanted to, she had as a child, to kind of see her feminine physique. Actually look at it and go, okay, I'm going to say goodbye to you, because now I can't take my hormones, and I'm going to get rid of my breasts in order to survive. And Adrian, who directed that episode, said, absolutely, Socks. And he went to the writers, and the writers were very excited to do that, because I know that I haven't seen enough of a woman looking at herself in the mirror about to undergo breast, because she's got cancer, to lose her breasts, to go undergo surgery, but also a trans woman. And I thought, this is quite radical and important to show.
Yeah,
and so
definitely.
that was very emotional as well, because I think it was done beautifully, and we makeup and special effects spent quite a while to actually get those prosthetics to work. And you know what, Kiana, I think it really resonated because out of all the responses for that, there was one of my friends who's a straight woman who actually said to me, Sox, I was watching that scene and it really resonated for you because I'd never really thought, I have a love-hate relationship with my body and a hate relationship with my breasts. And I never really thought about what it would be like and who I would be like if I didn't have them.
You didn't have them. Yeah.
So really kind of challenged or reinvigorated my feeling and relationship with my body. And this is a straight woman who's just watching it, who's a healthy lass, you know. So for that scene to resonate on that level was kind of, I didn't even think that would register in someone. So that was very emotional, and it still remains emotional thinking about it, just for its power and for a lot of people kind of going, I know what that's like, and wow, I imagine what that would be like, you know?
Yeah. I think a lot of people in the chat are agreeing with that too.
Right.
Yeah. I think, and I remember that scene, and I remember the scene where Maxine said she wasn't going to have surgery because she lived in the wrong body for so long. And I think all those scenes just bring up topics that aren't typically brought up like that or portrayed that way. So yeah, kudos to you and the writers and everybody for all of that, because it was amazing. And I think it hit home for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. When I remember hitting season 4 up and seeing that, seeing her storyline for that season, thinking this is blowing my mind. This is blowing my mind. It's going to affect a lot of people, you know.
Yeah, I know season 4 is a favorite of a lot of people in here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see if I can take a ton of questions.
Also, I'm so sorry. That was also another emotional. Look, they're all emotional scenes, right? They were all emotional scenes. I remember that the beginning of season 5 was gut-wrenching. Walking. I was going to say that kind of procession that we had at the start of season 5, because B was no longer with us, and all that, the life, and then that was highly emotional. Because it's so weird, it just becomes so real, you know, the love we have for each other with that collective cast and crew alike is very rare. We were housed under the same building, everything was there. That's another rare thing for a production. But also, you know, tapping into Maxine, and Maxine, you know, she wasn't number one anymore. Boomer was, B was, you know. So she was like these women who reached out and said, I'm here for you. Maxine was like, that's all I've ever wanted, to be accepted and to be loved. And therefore, from here on in, I'm going to do everything for you. So to tap into that love was, you know, we couldn't not go there. You know, it also was effortless because both Kat and Danielle are the most stunning, gorgeous creatures in the world. So it's hard not to love them. But you know, when you tap into that mentality, it's and you're grieving. You know, you're grieving your part of your body. You know, dying, but also your best friend being B dying. It's very real. You know.
Yeah, she definitely had a lot of really hard scenes to film with everything that happened season 4, and then obviously B. Some people asked about that. They asked if that was a hard scene for you to lose your best friend.
Yeah. Yes, it was. But that, and like I said, for those reasons, it was, you know, it became quite real, that feeling without Danielle there. You know, it was. We felt it. Maxine certainly felt it. Yeah, that was real. That grief was real.
Let's see. Let's do a little lighter. Let's see.
I can't believe that we were supposed to be in Chicago today.
I know. Don't remind me. Do you want me to cry?
No, it's just bonkers in terms of how quickly time goes. So before we
Yeah,
know it, it'll be August, right? And we'll be there in the flesh.
I know. I can't wait. I just want
Which
to
is,
be able to like be around people and hug people and have fun again. Not that this isn't fun,
we
but
were, of
it's a
course.
different level. And yeah, I think if I can scroll up on this chat, everybody in here is super excited to meet you. Glad you're coming.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure, absolutely. So am I. I love Chicago.
Let's see. Um, if you, Bethany Tucker, if you could have played another character, who would you choose and why?
Ah, very interesting question, Bethany Tucker. Oh my gosh. I mean, well, well, it's, who, I wouldn't be able to play anyone else apart from a prison guard, right?
I don't know. Hair and makeup, they could have made it work.
I don't know. I mean, could I not? Oh God, I don't know. No, I wouldn't be able to play anyone else apart from some sort of prison guard. Really? I mean, they're all so fabulous, aren't they? All those characters. I mean,
The governor.
yeah, I think so. Again, because it's interesting. It's interesting, Ken. I get. I get split in terms of my acting thing. Either I'm completely kind of dark and ominous and that kind of character, or I'm this kind of soft um, sort of what is it, anti-hero. So sorry, I've just gone on a tangent. I'm just thinking what I'm getting to is that no one would probably think, oh yeah, Socks, he could play something as menacing as the governor. Whereas earlier on in my life, before social media, I would get those roles because of how I looked. But now I think that people have, because people have known, they get to know you, especially through the social network, and they kind of go, oh wow, he's not exactly how he comes across on screen, or he's not as, you know, as how anyone that wouldn't know me kind of go, oh yeah, he'd probably play someone dark and evil. So it would be a nice challenge to kind of go, yeah, I can do that. I can play someone that's completely effed up like the freak. That would be awesome.
Trying to go through here. There's so many questions. I love it. Someone said, what are you looking forward to at Wentworth Con? I like that one.
Well, meeting you all, meeting Kiana in the flesh, Superwoman, Special K, right?
Oh, now everyone's going to start calling me that.
It's the best thing. It's the best thing.
I love it.
Healthier cereal. What am I looking forward to? Oh, just meeting everyone in the States. I've never done an American convention. So, and I mean, there's a lot of American fans that hit me up who I engage with over social media who I would have loved to have met in person and will meet in person. So, what I'm looking forward to, just it being my very first one and seeing you all. And it's, yeah, your energy is just, it's thrilling.
Yeah, America is definitely, in my eyes, takes the cake for conventions just because there are so many. There's a convention here for everything. And people love it. And I think the dynamic, and I was talking about this with a lot of fans because they always ask what my favorite part is. And I always tell them seeing the fans come together and meet each other and have a bond and share their stories and form friendships, or even people who have friendships online. Now it's actually getting brought in the real world and they're meeting. And I think it's just so beautiful to watch it all come together and watch people bond over, happy stories, sad stories, depending on, what they dealt with and how they related to a character. But the friendships that form, and then they travel together and meet up and go sightseeing, get married. Yeah.
That's,
I love it.
Yeah, 'cause I've done two two, I think, in England, and a lot of people said the same thing actually. Now that you're saying, I kind of go, yeah, that's what they've been saying. We've met each other, and we've met each other through the show, and we've bonded, and a couple of people got married, which is
Yeah, we had a proposal in New Jersey, the
Did
first
you?
con. Yeah. They met, I guess they met through, well, I think they met in a, they said something like they met in a fan page and bonded over the ballet relationship. And they asked me, one of them caught me in the lobby and asked if she could propose at the ballet photo op, and she did.
Oh,
And she said yes, so that's good. But yeah, it was awesome.
She said, oh, that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, that was my first question. Is she going to say yes? No. But no, it was great.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. No, it's incredible. It's just incredible how such a show has brought so many people from all over the world together. And I think it's still being introduced in different countries. I think, Turkey's quite massive in its response. In Japan, I'm getting a lot from people in Japan and Turkey. I think Turkey's done its reimagining as well. But just the bonds that people are creating.
Yeah, I mean, I know Wentworth Con at least. There's people from like 7 or 8 countries coming to Chicago. Yeah, so it's definitely spreading, and I think also I've noticed a lot of my personal friends are starting to watch it now that we're all self-quarantined. They're all starting new Netflix shows and stuff like that. So it's just going to keep growing.
Yeah. What better timing than to watch something about isolation? Yeah.
I like this one. Little Checks 2 said, "Do you still keep in touch with the cast?"
Well, yeah, I do. Some of them I do, but also I live in a different state to where it's filmed, and most of them are there. So I think through social we do. We've all got our lives and our families and our new jobs, but and also I remember being part of Wentworth, and it's so all-encompassing that you don't really have time for anything else apart from that show. And I think that's still to go with some of the casts that are currently on it. So I don't see them as much as I did, or speak to them as much as I did, but I mean, we're interconnected for life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're speaking to each other. I know that Nicole and Libby and Dan were really pumped to come over to Chicago, and right before, look at that flag. What's that flag? Is that flag? Are they flag? Brazil. Is that a Brazilian flag?
Yeah.
Ooh.
There's another country.
There's another country. So yeah, right before the lockdown, I was in a different state, and we were all talking to each other, thinking, is it going to go ahead? What do you know? Blah blah blah. And they were really excited to go as I was, and I hadn't seen those girls for quite a while, so I was doubly excited to head over to see them.
Yeah, we heard that. Well, I heard that from the cast in New Jersey that they don't really get to, when they're not filming, they don't get to see each other as often. So I remember they were all saying how nice it was to be in the same room and have some downtime and eat lunch together and stuff like that again. So yeah, this is a good one. I like this one. Let's do this one.
Okay.
Alicia Butler Squire, what would you have liked to see happen with Maxine's story if she was still on the show?
Oh, that's a good story. I still think about that. I think a lot of people still think about that.
They are. That's why they want to know.
Yeah, I remember actually saying to the writers, when we were having conversations, and I thought, I wonder what this means for her now that she's going to forego her hormones and have surgery, and what this means, and also shaving her hair. I said, if before I knew that was it for Maxine, I remember saying to them how wonderful and incredibly revolutionary it would still be if Maxine decided that now that she's accepted as a woman, and I think there was potential for her to think this way, now that she's accepted as a woman, she does no longer need to necessarily look like one. Therefore, I will grow my hair at my own pace. I will forego my hormones, and I obviously won't have time for, I'll beat the cancer, but I won't have a breast, what would you call it, augmentation? No, breast reconstruction. And I thought, how interesting to have the character of Maxine not necessarily have to look specifically female, traditionally female, and say, I'm a woman. Again, this is modern politics. This is now what we see with identities all over. People are called them or she's. People that identify as a woman don't necessarily look like a woman. I think it would have really been a very interesting thing to explore. So I thought, if that was the case, I think that would be another radical thing for Wentworth to do with the character, and also the character of Maxine. But also I said to them, if she does beat cancer and she does come back, and she can slowly return to how she looked. I was up for that as well, but I remember saying to them, I think it would be really interesting to see another version of Maxine coming back and saying, I accept myself now, and I no longer need to look like a traditional woman because things have changed. Identity has changed. I'm a woman inside. I'm not the breasts or the hair, but I'm a woman inside. But I accept myself. And I think that was, do you know what I mean? That's sort of
acceptance. Yeah. Self-acceptance.
Yeah. I would have hoped, I would have liked, I think, to explore that, but I'm hoping that she's recovered from cancer somewhere, and I think she would have served a sentence by now anyway. It was only about 3 years or so that she had.
Oh my God. Now people are in the chat. Does that mean you're coming back?
And sadly,
bring Maxine back.
Look, I think they've finished shooting, haven't they? Finished they're in their final season right now.
Yeah. Well, right now production is paused because of this. But
wrapping the whole thing up. I heard.
Yeah, I know that they finished. I don't know anything.
Yeah. Look, if she was coming back, I'd and I was allowed to say I would, but no, she didn't.
Yeah, I know people are asking that. Is she coming back? When is she back? Are you in the box? All these theories.
She's not in the box. No, it's really lovely that people are saying you're coming back, because obviously she still resonates with people. But also, I think she's one of the characters that we actually don't know what happened to.
Yeah,
not dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people either have.
I think it's because she was kind of left open-ended. I think that's why everybody's always asking, where is she? What's happening? What was her story? Did she beat cancer? Is she coming back?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still watch the show?
I was watching. Where are we? Season 7.
Yeah.
Season 7 is finished?
Season 7's finished. Yeah, we're waiting for season 8 to come out in June.
I watched 5 and 6. I haven't seen 7.
Oh, okay. Then I can't ask you that question. You have to watch 7 because there's a really good ending on there. You probably watched. Did you see the spoiler?
Is it the freak?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, then I did. Maybe it wasn't 6 I watched 7. So I went from 5 to 7 or something. I'm not sure. I remember getting, oh my God, what the hell? How does that work? Is that really her, or is it a twin sister, or is it a ghost? I have no idea. Yeah. Wow. Amazing. I wonder what that's going to be like. Oh, that's something that's going to really reel people in for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Everybody's wondering what's going to happen with that. Let's see. I'll take like 1 or 2 more. We're almost at an hour here.
Are we really?
Yeah. I love it. This goes by so quick because there's so many questions, and obviously when we dive deep into topics. Oh, this is fun. That's a fun one. If
What is
you were
that?
quarantined with one other prisoner, who would you want it to be and why?
One other prisoner. You know what? I'm going to say Ali.
Oh, I was thinking you would say Boomer.
Well, the reason I'm going to say Ali is, and it's probably a little bit cheeky because I'm the biggest fan of Kate Jenkinson's Insta world. And she's
Have you been
all,
watching her lives? She is
I,
hysterical.
this is what I mean. She's
Yeah.
hysterical. She would constantly keep it interesting. And I know there's a lot of that. You know, Ali herself is just this mercurial, beautiful, stunning, innocent being. And I think, yeah, I think Kate and Ali for me are kind of usurped together. So I think it would be her. She'd be the biggest fun of all. She'd keep me entertained non-stop. It would be Ali Jenkinson.
Allie Jenkinson. In quarantine, probably, yeah. Anything's possible in quarantine right
Yeah.
now. Oh, this is a cute one. What was your go-to thing that would make you feel better after filming a hard scene?
My go-to thing.
You know, like working out or listening to music or did you just stay in character?
Well, not necessarily stay in character, but it's very difficult to release what was happening. You know, especially with this character. You know, there was a whole different level of psychology that was happening with tapping into Maxine and where she was. You know, she was a very isolated character, even psychologically. So it was hard to kind of just be able to release that, you know,
Mhm.
or utilize something else that would kind of let that character or let her voice or let her pain or let her heart kind of just park it for a minute. It got easier, but also it was so involved, Kiana, that, you know, it felt like it was 24/7. Felt like it was 24/7. So what was my go-to? I think I think knowing that we were all such a collective and we all had each other's back. So every time things were hard, we just kind of tap out and look at each other and support each other and know that, you know, we were there for each other. So I think the rest of the cast was the go-to.
Hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's one of the most supportive casts I've ever worked with because we knew we were doing something, you know, quite different, quite radical, and we were touching people. And again, in season 2, I didn't know, but then in season 3, when it started to reverberate globally, we kind of went, oh, wow, this show is really touching people in ways we didn't think it would, or I didn't think it would. So yeah, the show and the characters and what we were doing became bigger than ourselves as well, and I think everyone kind of knew that.
Hmm.
We were doing something that was quite rare, and probably we wouldn't get an opportunity to do again.
Yeah.
You know?
This is good. I'll take this question and then I'll let you go until Chicago.
Okay.
What's that? What projects are you working on now?
Quite a few. Look, I'm up. Kiana knows this, but I'm up until about 5 a.m. every morning.
And then random hours of the night that I get a message and I'm like, what time is it over there?
Yeah. But here's the thing I'll let in. It's stuff that I was. This is what I mean in terms of this being quite normal for me. This is how I was practicing stuff before the lockdown. So this is the kind of way I live. I'm up all kind of levels of the day and the night, and I'm writing a couple of things. And I've
I know you've been doing plays.
Yeah, I finished a show in Adelaide where I was in, but I'm also writing a couple of things. There's 4 projects I'm writing on at the moment, and there's also something that I directed last December, which is going into post-production somehow in this quarantine stage. And there's also another one that's come my way that, I'm going to start looking to, because I'm writing and directing as well, which is something I've always wanted to do. And I'm also teaching. So I spend a lot of my day and night kind of multitasking, which I thrive at. And this is why, for me, this lockdown not necessarily kind of making me feel quite different to the way I normally am.
Yeah. Staying busy.
Yeah. Creative and busy. Yeah. So a lot. Who asked that question? How are you guys? How is everyone else coping with this?
Yeah, let's see in the chat.
What's getting you through? Because it's, if I could start asking questions, I'd love to. I know we don't have time, but I'm really curious to know.
I can always start this back up, but I think after an hour it'll shut us off. But I can always start it back up if you want.
I'm really curious to see how everyone's going and how they're managing this and what it's bringing up for them. Because it's unprecedented, right? It's unprecedented. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are freaking out, especially because they haven't had time to actually sit with themselves and understand what that means. And, people that haven't experienced anxiety before or lack of...
I saw a lot of mental health questions in there and stuff about that, about, anxiety and struggling with depression. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things, but let's see what people are saying. I am still working on my front yard. I've seen that too. Random car drives, walks, baking.
I'm baking.
Wine.
Wine, absolutely. This is so tough. I'm a teacher, missed my students. Currently doing a psych paper. Okay, everyone's keeping busy. Tiger King.
Did you watch that?
I did watch it. I want to get onto this anxiety is crazy. I just wanted to say, absolutely it is. And I mean, I'm tossing and turning every now and then, as well. But I'm not one to spruik advice, but I do get hit up with people saying, they're suffering from depression and it's really, really hard. And I think for me, Kiana, the thing that's gotten me through, not necessarily getting me through now because I'm used to this kind of, I'm used to this, sorry, I just got someone else to start on the video. I'm used to this kind of isolating kind of me time. It's not new for me. But the thing is, I know that by reaching out and speaking to someone and sharing your truth and kind of going, I'm feeling fucked or I'm completely depressed, I don't know what to do. I think that no matter what, I guarantee something will lift. And whether it's you get something directly from your friend or from whoever you speak to and they give you something you can hold on to, or whether it resonates later and it's indirect and you kind of go, oh, something's come up from that. I guarantee that's going to make you feel better. But it's also what has alleviated any anxiety that I feel. It's just always connecting with someone,
Yeah. Someone in here said, it's comforting to know that we are all in this together. And I think that's kind of what you're saying too, is that we are all in this together. We're all dealing with similar feelings all of not knowing what to feel, really. I think that's the scariest part for me is the unknown and not knowing when this is going to be over and if it's okay to go places again and how long we're in this for. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that the more we talk to each other about it, the less we'll feel kind of...
I agree.
Alone,
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
I love this. People are saying they love me time.
Oh, good. There's the Brazilian flag again.
Watching Cooking with COVID with Jenko.
Yeah.
Your cameos. Crystal said your cameos are keeping her going.
Oh, thanks, Crystal. Yeah, thank you.
All right, it's giving me a countdown. So I will say bye, but thank you so much for doing this, and hopefully we'll do this again.
What you're doing is gorgeous, my darling. Thank you for
Thank
reaching.
you. I couldn't do it without you, and I definitely couldn't do it without the fans. So I'm glad that we have this